destroys houses, kill vehicles, telephone masts in Japan. That's the picture down there on the front page of the Punch. We have top spread, the front page of the Punch. We have we're discussing with 6 APC governors, says PDP. PDP says they're discussing with 6 APC governors. Obviously, we've not seen the last of this defection, the defection plan, the defection drama that is taking place in our political space. APC Adamawa Borno split as Ondo Nasarawa adopt indirect primaries. We'll use Oshupol to make statement against vote buying. That's INEC. Informant blames taxi driver for Clark House raid, and that's from the informant of the police, who said that somebody gave them the information that Edwin Clark, Chief Edwin Clark's house, they would find some ammunition there, and so some policemen decided to raid the house on their own authority, obviously, and we can see that the police had apologized to Chief Edwin Clark for the intrusion, and then, worthy of note, nothing was found in the house. Boko Haram hijacks bus, abducts 20 passengers in Borno State. That's the last story from the front page of the Punch. This morning we're moving straight to the Guardian. FG moves to end cholera outbreaks in 2023. That's 2023. FG moves to end cholera outbreak. Okay. 7 PDP governors back Saraki's presidential ambition. That's 7 PDP governors and APC governors defy party, opt for indirect primary. We're going to talk about that when we start our discussion. Actually, we have riders Nasarawa, Kebbi, Plateau, Bauchi. Others reject direct option. Party's executive insists directive stands. Another rider there, Abia State, Sani, Ribadu. Others back subsisting order. PDP set to receive 6 APC governors, 27 federal lawmakers. Court rules out fresh congresses for River State. Okay, Buhari seeks China's support for Mambila power projects. Riders say will ensure it succeeds. President Xi and stakeholders differ on $328 million ICT loan for Nigeria. That's from China. That's from the FOCAC summit taking place right now in China. Interesting to note on sports, the Nigerian Football Federation slams 1-year ban on Super Eagles coach for accepting bribe from Ghanaian journalists posing as agents. We have The Nation. We're going straight to the front page of The Nation. And on the front page of The Nation this morning, police apologize to Edwin Clark over raid. That's on the front page of The Nation. Group obtains 45 million APC fund for Buhari. CBN $8.1 billion refund. Other threatens MTN's NSE listing. Okay, we have APC, Kano, Niger join Lagos for direct primary. Okay, Ogun, Kebbi for consensus. Ondo chooses indirect primary. World Bank 600 million for Lake Chad Basin projects. And still on sports, let's look at the sports story on the front page of The Nation. Nigeria for 2019 World Team Cup in Tokyo. Okay, we have the World Team Cup in Tokyo. Nigeria defeated Egypt 3-1 in the final of the 2018 IGTF African Championship in Mauritius yesterday. So the last newspaper we're looking at this morning, that's the Nigerian Tribune. Interesting story there on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune. NAS resumption. APC PDP primaries threaten September date. I'm sure a lot of people have comments about that. We have some analysts in the house as well who are going to help us, look at the stories. ISIS terrorists have links in Borno IDP camp. That's from the police. Presidency to Atiku. Buhari not power drunk. Group purchases 45 million from for president. Still on the front page of the Tribune, we have Edwin Clark. Police apologize, parade informant. The guy said, I got the information in a taxi. That's a serious one there. Or should PDP Adeleke Ogunbiyi reconcile? Party says 6 APC governors, 27 NAS members expected to join the PDP soon. We'll watch out to see if that is true. Okay, the center spread there, we see the picture of the informant being paraded by the police. That's the first public relations officer, FPRO, Jimo Mashood, left parading Ismail Yakubu on Wednesday for allegedly giving false information to the police, leading to the search on Chief Edwin Clark's residence in Abuja. The last story we're looking at here, APC primaries, Ogun, Oyo, Kebbi, choose consensus method. Kogi, Plateau, Ondo, Zamfara, Sokoto go for indirect primary. Kano, Niger, Abia adopt direct method. Amosu announces senatorial ambition, unveils successor today. Ajimobi meets governorship aspirant on Saturday. That's the much we're taking from the front page of the dailies this morning. We're going straight into our discussion. When we come back from this break, we'll be introducing the topic of this morning and we'll be introducing the analysts in the studio. Please stay with us. If you're just joining us, this is AM Chat. You're welcome to today's edition. We're talking politics. And before we went on the break, I said I would introduce the analysts in the studio and I've also introduced the topic for this morning. We have with us this morning Mr. Olayinka Oladaniels. Mr. Olayinka has been here before and he has a wealth of experience and a wealth of expertise that we will be tapping into this morning. You're welcome to today's show. And we also have in the studio with us, we have Mr. Olaleko. Mr. Olaleko Oshodi, you're welcome. Okay, moving on into the topic of this morning, we'll be looking ahead of the 2019 election. Welcome. This is the AM Chart. If you're just joining us, we have two guests in the studio. Mr. Olaleko Oshodi is on my left and Mr. Olayinka Oladaniels on my right. We'll be talking this morning about restructuring ahead of the 2019 election. Restructuring or not, because the story everywhere this morning seems to be restructuring. Everybody is talking about restructuring Nigeria, and it's almost becoming, it's becoming a debate. Somebody wrote a book, somebody responded, and all that. But we'll be looking at some of the stories this morning. But before we do, we're going to look at this interesting conversation that we stumbled upon with Mr. Femi Falana. The barrister yesterday, we used it on our news, and I'm sure that it's going to be very exciting to start today's talk with Mr. Femi Falana. Please stay with us.
Here is a convergence of stakeholders in different fields of human endeavor to discuss the theme, Nigeria's Unity Matters Arising. In a paper delivered in Lagos, the late speaker, a senior advocate of Nigeria, Femi Falana, said, since the oppressors were united in exploiting the country's national resources, the oppressed should unite to free themselves from poverty. Falana maintained that the former Vice President Alhaji Atiku Abubakar has become one of the leading proponents of restructuring, but his support for restructuring has not addressed the crucial issue of redistribution of national wealth.
So you want restructuring, not geographical alone. It must be horizontal and vertical. You must give power to the people. You must take free funds from those who have stolen our wealth, so that this can be used to develop the country. You must be talking of democratization of power. I support state police, but the state police shall only be funded by the state government. I will not support the police commissioner and the DPO appointed by the government.
In his remarks, the President General of the Ohaneze Indigbo Worldwide, John Nya Nwodo, said Nigerians must take their destiny in their hands by organizing themselves to demand for the actualization of the true federalism through restructuring that will pave way for good governance.
Nothing is too big for you if you learn, if you are humble, if you are persistent. You can do it. The second thing I say to you is detribalize yourselves. We are talking about Nigerian youth.
The Bishop of Trem, Michael Okonkwo, said Nigerians should be prepared to challenge any political office holders that failed in his responsibilities.
Yes, you must control the fight, but when it comes to national issues, for you to be able to get the real how and the real position of things, don't let time come into it. Don't let party affiliation come into it. Don't let even your religion, because Nigeria is not only made up of Christians. It's also made up of Muslims. It's made up of people from different religions. And if somebody going to be president of the country, he has to be president of everyone. That's the only way.
To cap it off, the Lagos State Deputy Governor, Dr. Idiat Adedule, enjoined other state governments to emulate the state in the promulgation of the Right Child Acts so as to give every child opportunity to free education. Abiola Ismail, MITV News.
Welcome back. That's from the package we used on our news yesterday, and I felt it was interesting, interesting of note that Mr. Falana, while talking about restructuring, said it is important that even when the old police structure, he started with the police, he was talking about the police there, he said when the old police, structure is restructured, he said there shouldn't be appointment of the commissioner and the DPOs by the government, because said that is where the problems usually start from. Is that true?
Actually, when we talk about the restructuring as a topic, it means different things to different people. It is actually more of the essential thing is devolution of powers to the states as well as the local government, so that they attain true autonomy. Yes, it is not really the system we practice that is the issue. It is the people implementing this various system of governance. So I would say that before we think of restructuring or adopting any further modification to what we have now, Nigeria as a whole need a kind of rebirth. There should be a change in orientation, the way we do things. We must be people, everything we do must be people oriented. If that takes effect, then we can begin to see the fruits of whatever we adopt.
Whatever kind of system that we adopt, Mr. Lainka. A couple of weeks ago, we were having a discussion here, and we talked about the fault of the system itself. somebody was saying that restructuring should actually be start from not just the people, because Mr. Osho just said that if we start with the people, reorient ourselves, then what do we do about the structure itself? Because identifying that the structure, because my guest was saying that the structure is faulty, the structure needs to be worked upon, the structure needs to be rejigged here and there. And that's what led to that statement actually by Mr. Femi Falana was saying that one of the issues he had is if a police commissioner comes all the way from Birmingham to Lagos, and you're supposed to do policing in this community. If you go to a bar and you're having a discussion, and you're drinking in the bar, and the people around you are having a discussion, you won't understand the language that is being spoken. So how do you actually do effective policing in that kind of system? That was what he said about, restructuring the entire structure itself. Do you think that it can actually work with the governors now if we establish something that is called state police?
State police.
Do you think it will work?
Well, I will start by saying, before I answer that question, we talk about restructuring today because we invented, or let me say we copy a system that we don't even know anything about, which is the true federalism. Because if truly we practice true federalism, we'll not be talking about restructuring.
Yeah.
Because now the noise about restructuring everybody's making is about, oh yes, the devolution of power, the state should be this. What are we talking about? If it is true federalism, the state should have power. That is devolution of power. Almost the 36 states in this country have one resources or the other. Nobody's generating funds. Everybody is leaning on the allowance that comes from the federal government. It shouldn't be.
Well, interesting of note, Lagos generates funds.
I said, how many? Okay, maybe if you take 9 out of the 36, that could manage to generate revenue. The state. But then we talk about over 20 thereabout states, and we see what happens. Everybody lean on federal government. Now you want the police to come from the state. In a program somewhere, I I talked about not being able to finance. That even if you give it to the state, some of the state can't even pay salary. Now then somebody said no, it's not about. I said no. See, to an extent, I agree with my senior friend, Mr. Falana. Yeah, to an extent, I would agree with him because we are not there yet. In as much as I support community policing, in as much as I support state policing, we are not there yet. Is it the governor?
That's the point.
That even okay. Now let's even look at our system. Let's look at the federal government. Let's look at what happens sometimes when any subsisting government wants to deal with his opposition.
Yeah.
He still use these apparatus.
Yeah.
To do whatever they want to do. Now bring it out to state, which we even know what happened in the state. Then you now give the governor to appoint the commissioner. You give the governor the power to appoint the DPO. We are not there.
Yeah.
I support. I want it.
Democracy even mature for that kind of.
Thank you. I was in the US and different states.
We're having a precursor to democracy.
Precursor to democracy.
What he actually said is
so
true.
basically, we are not really doing democracy the way it's meant to be done.
I was in Arizona, and I was wondering what was happening. Everybody with their guns. Someone could gonna come to the supermarket, to the malls with their guns. Everybody asks questions in Arizona. And check, you will not hear that. Oh, there are sporadical spraying or shooting in that same Arizona. But yet people were carrying guns everywhere. But you won't go to New York and see people carry guns the way they carry in Arizona. They're state policing. Do you understand? They were running their shows. What happened is in California is different from what happens in Texas.
So it shouldn't even be a compulsory thing.
I support it, but then we are not ready for. We are not right for such. The people, you mentioned people. We can't take people out of it, and we need orientation. You see, most time I come and I say, oh yes, patriotism is key. Some people say, it's not limited to vision. We can have visionary leaders. It's not limited to it. But patriotism goes beyond the leadership. Patriotism spread all across to all citizenry, to all of us. Because if we are patriot, so truth be told, we will ask questions from our leaders. When they goof, we will ask them questions. And when they don't do well, we will stop. Now, some of the parties you hear, this one says, oh yeah, we're not doing direct primaries, we're doing indirect. If you're popular, if you're doing the bid of your people,
exactly.
Will you want to have anything? No. Well, they know what they're doing, because if they do direct, they know that it's more sure for them. So now they're not going to go by direct primaries.
So they want to do indirect primaries.
A situation where they are able to kind of
exactly, you know, an interesting
delegate.
thing.
That is it.
Exactly, an interesting thing that happened over the weekend. I was having a discussion with a politician, and I wanted, he's an office holder, and I wanted to ask him about direct primary, because I know from past information from that state that there wasn't going to be direct primary option. Interestingly, last week APC said there's going to be direct primary option in the party, and then I heard the news the next day saying it is for the presidential election alone. And I'm asking myself, what happens to the states? Yeah. And so this person told me to my face that that's federal now, and it's not states. And I'm wondering. So this morning I wasn't surprised when they said number of states who are going for indirect, those who are going for direct, those who are going for. Imagine if states choosing which one is consensus. Mr. Naga, you're the lawyer, please. Which is consensus method? Consensus, indirect, direct. Please explain. What's the difference?
Just like what my friend mentioned earlier, the whole thing borders on reorientation and what I earlier on described as a rebirth across all ramifications of our fabrics. Those who favored, those who are kicking against the direct primaries, they don't have to be, they feel they don't have to be responsible to the people to get to where
what
they're
they
going.
need.
You understand? That is the crux of the matter. When you are not, if you are loved by your people, you carry them along, and they can see the fruits of your labor. You are doing what your programs are people oriented. It is not enough for you to be in position of authority and think it is what you think is good for them. If the people desire hospitals, schools, and think a bus stop or whatever is better for them, no. There's no way you say you want to lead the people and they are carried along in the decision making. And that is the aspect, that is the stage we are now. I mentioned earlier on that what we are having is a precursor to democracy. You understand? People are now beginning to get involved. And the elite of the society, to a large extent are to blame for this. Because people are generally, this category of people are generally politically apathetic. On election days, they sit down, the fridge is loaded, the DSCD is running, the generator is on standby. It's like a day of rest.
It's a day of rest.
You understand? So, you now leave the decision making
in the hands of people.
In the hands of people who, unfortunately, let us be realistic to ourselves, might not be able to
take a good decision.
Exactly. We talk about penchants of our leaders for inducement towards the election.
Yeah.
You understand? But we must not also forget the affinity of our people to ask for inducement.
Yeah.
These are some of the things we need. Yeah, because to a large extent, poverty has been weaponized. So this is now, we are now expecting and we are hoping, the people who have the capacity to say, no, I won't take this, this is what I think is right for the country, and vote according to their conscience, come out to participate in this electoral process. It is there we can begin to make a serious traction in our democratic development.
That's a very huge one. That, I was wondering. I keep seeing all of these terms everywhere. Direct primary, indirect primary, consent. I saw another one to be consensus. Please, it's like you're a lawyer. What does what mean? I need to really know, because our people may not understand. Right now, a lot of people are saying, do you know people fight in Nigeria? People fight for things they don't understand.
Of course.
So people are willing right now to fight on the direct and indirect primary option, and they do not understand what both means. So please.
For concessions, you find out that there's consultations already, going. Then everybody comes together to say, okay, this is what the person will support from our party. Then they talk to A, B, C. They talk to all the the delegates and all the stakeholders. Then they agree on a particular candidate. Then all the other aspirants also come together and we're okay. No problem. Or somehow they even settle to say, okay, don't worry, give him. Once you get there, you will get this, you will get that, you will get that. So they agree.
So on the party
front, they present one. That is
choosing.
That is one. Now the indirect. That is where you have your delegates. Part of the that's members of the political parties that are card carrier, but they will still have that. They go to the wards, from wards like that to the local government. So they have delegates that come together to then vote
for all the
aspirants
and on behalf of the
general.
And please, what happens when that happens? I think inducement.
No, of course, and that's why you say that, okay, this one, the highest bidder, all the aspirant goes to meet all the delegates to say, okay, then this one will give, Ghana must go here and there, and everybody, the highest bidder, then they come, and they go ahead, and again, so aside from the highest bidder,
primary actually gives room for
for that. Yeah. Now, but when it comes to direct, now this goes to all the card carriers of that particular party. To come all out and vote for their own candidate choice, of candidacy.
So everybody,
that is much more less susceptible to manipulation through inducement.
Yes.
You have much more people to manipulate if you choose to manipulate. Then
everybody is going to be voting.
Yes,
so
according to
from all wards, from all local governments, from all.
And again, that also gives room for you to even get a better candidate. Because, for instance, in Ogun State, Mr. Governor, after the 2 terms, meanwhile, he has done 1 term of Senate, he has been a senator before. Now, after the 2nd term, now, he wants to come back to the Senate. Now, if you come in and everybody goes, come, you are not the only politician in this state. Please, you are not the only most intelligent or most brilliant person. Let's look for someone else to represent us. Primary, general one, that can be achieved. And everybody goes, no, please, thank you. You have done well. But let us try someone else. You see, and I say it every time. Look at our system. They will go from one place, then they become governor for 2 terms, and after governor, they want to go to Senate and go on and on and on. See, I do not have a problem with someone that contributes meaningful whatever to the nation. Look at the late John McCain. He's been senator for decades and all that. But every time, his people are always ready to make sure he goes back. Why? Because it was glaring that this one is a patriot. This one was, in fact, you can see him even fighting his party on some decisions. Because he was all out for America, for the state. He was all out for the country. So people will always want him back. But what do we have among most of our leaders that are in Senate, when you hear them speak, when you hear them deliberate on some other things, and you see the system getting deoriented every day, and nothing, and yet they still want to go back. And I ask, are they the only ones?
They will surely be the only ones.
That's the reason why they want consensus. That's the reason why they want indirect primary, so that they can go there.
Exactly. They will always be the only one as long as public offices remain as juicy as they are. It is true. That's why the cost of governance is excessively high.
We pay it so much.
It's excessively high. You understand? So we must have a way to ensure that governance has some element of volunteerism. You understand? It's not a professional thing. Ideally, it should be for people who have made reasonable traction in their own personal affairs and are willing to contribute to the development
of the society
people
as a
and the
whole.
society at large.
As a whole.
Sorry, if I may come in, if I may trip in this. People talk about Macron. I spoke on that some program, and I saw a comment from somebody that Macron was a banker, and I laughed. And some people don't even do research. They don't even check, their facts. Macron was in the system for how many years? For like maybe 13, 14 years. He was in the system. He was in the community side before he even became minister, before he became whatever, and he went back, he changed, he was in social whatever party, he changed from that social party before he came back to form his own political party that brought him to office. So he's been there. And now, look at what happened also in New York about the other lady that just won as against somebody that had been there for like how many decades, and she won.
She was in the system.
Thank you.
Hold
on, let me put it this way. Yes, we understand that. Yes, she was a bad attendance, but one thing people did not check was that she was also a community. She was in fact, she was even helping in community. Now the question I ask, the youth, they want to become the president. No problem about that. I want generations, because we need a generational shift. I want the youth to come in. But the question is, how many of them are in CDAs? How many of them are in CDCs? How many of them are contributing to the communities? What are the impacts? You see, when people talk about all these things, it's not just about the politics. I'm not saying just come and join political parties, but in your own community, what impact are you making? What are you doing to even say, yes, you are in the system? What the local government, you don't even know the name of your local government chairman. You don't even know who operates in your local government, and yet you want to become the president of the country. And somebody will tell me, yes, anybody can become president. No, it does not work that way. That's the reason why some parties will say their own form is 45 million. They've told you, yeah, they signed the bill. Yeah, not too young to run, but now they didn't put that part of it to say, okay, the money and all that. So where am I going to get 45 million from?
No, but sincerely.
But then, sorry, then it's not also an excuse.
Yeah.
It's not also an excuse. Yes, APC has said his own is 45 million. There are other political parties. You see, that is where we get it wrong. There are other political, maybe PDP is saying 12 million is own. Then there are other political parties, maybe that is free self.
Yeah.
Why can't we go to the political parties and push and come together? Why? Do you understand? We have it, but are we ready?
But we are even divided. That's another thing. We're really divided. Imagine we have 92 political parties registered, but 93 registered right now. Yeah. Right now we have 93. Yeah. How many? I imagine. No. But I actually want to imagine what the shit is going to be like. I want to imagine if 50 of them have presidential aspirants. I want to imagine what the shit is going to be like on the day of election. No, but you can imagine. What is wrong with coming together? We can't even agree on ideology.
That's the reason why we are saying democracy. We don't even. I doubt if we really know the chronicle of the word democracy itself. Because if we do, well, democracy, we are growing anyway. But then, if we go this route, I don't know how long it's going to take us to get it right. But if we come together and start, it may be tough, but on a good run, maybe it will be faster for us to get there, early enough. Yeah. Like you said, look at the number of political parties. And again, we said there is no money. Now, the INEC sent bill to them. 143 thereabout billion was approved. Now, there's different from budgets being sent and being approved, and different from money being released, disbursed, and this is we're in September already. Yeah. Before you know it, it's gone. Then they are doing, we have a very proactive government in quote, that they wait to January 2019 before the money is released.
Yeah.
Very proactive. So, if only we will look at call ourselves to others, because we can't hide away from this word restructuring. We must sit down and talk. If we go this way, we will go this way, and in the end, we're just going round the circle and not even heading to anywhere.
Mr. Oshodi, wait. Restructuring. That's what everybody says. It is the buzzword right now. If we are all talking restructuring, what exactly can we start with? You were saying the whole time that we start with ourselves as a people.
Exactly. In my own view, this is the point in the annals of our political history where we need social crusaders more than ever before. Are you getting me? Because if we restructure, we are not going to get people from outer planets
and space
to come and implement whatever programs that
we actually put together.
Adopted. Then you mentioned earlier on in the course of the discourse about the proliferations of political parties, so many youths running. In my own view, I think that situation is a child of necessity, kind of. Because we got to a point where Nigerians to a large extent have really lost hope in the system. And I remember vividly well when this administration came on board.
There was a lot of
body language.
Yes, people were
very enthusiastic.
Energized. People were ready to align.
Exactly.
But unfortunately,
But that's the issue. What I'm still saying is, we have the party that people don't want to align with. Why are the people who are starting afresh not aligning to
that's
that?
why I said, I'm sorry to cut. That's why I said,
yes, I understand.
it is all about social crusading. You understand? Because sometimes, I was listening to a discussion yesterday. I never heard people talking about, this man is not going to return. We are not going to vote for him, this, that. I know, I was following, I was listening, thinking that, there are reasons where economic, or infrastructure, social. But to my dismay, they say, he has not been giving people money. Leaders of the party are this and that. People are complaining this and that. We went for meeting, they didn't give us money. In a situation, and these are the elements with which you want to build a society. You have to first of all correct the impression. You don't attend political meeting for you to be reimbursed.
That's the truth.
It is volunteerism. You understand? When you begin to request for this indirectly, you are pushing those leaders to steal. You understand?
There's something fundamentally wrong.
So before we restructure or do anything, I'm imploring Nigerians, those who are influencers' opinion, let us change the orientation of our people. Let them begin to ask the right questions, the right moment, and things will settle in.
But why do we always look for free money? That's the issue.
No, poverty is part of it, but at the same time, thinking, you mentioned earlier on that, how many people knew, things you will assume the average citizen was about the government. There's a lot of apathy.
I listened to somebody, these governments have been saying they've been doing this project, and they've been listing, actually, they've been mentioning. And somebody, an elite, actually said he traveled a couple of weeks ago, and he did not see any project that has been done and all that.
Even where projects are executed. That is part of this rebirth. That's part of the rebirth I'm hoping for. It is not enough for a government.
He said he can't see any project.
Even where the projects are seen.
The projects are there. But I think we just have this mindset,
Well, the mindset didn't just start. We have some ministries that are just there, wasting. They're just there by name. but we don't see anything.
No impact.
The orientation, the National Orientation Agency and all that.
What are they doing?
What are they doing? You see, when people said the admission of former President Jonathan didn't do anything, I said, no, you're wrong.
That's not true.
That's not true.
A company can't be there for
Because,
years and not do anything.
yeah, but why did they say that? Why? Because nobody showed them anything. Nobody told them anything.
Exactly.
The same thing is happening with this administration.
Right now.
What you are doing, okay, maybe a few of us are aware of number of projects and
that
what
is being
the
done.
government are doing, and the next thing, maybe on social media once in a while you see list of stuff they're doing, but compare the number of people that are on that social media. In fact, some of them are even there, and it's just about their Instagram and all that, and whatever. They are not ready to even look at those things. Now, how much are you trying to enlighten these people, to educate these people, to even, because it's, like you said, a lot of Nigerians have lost hope in the country, in the government. The average Nigerian that will say, you know, in Nigeria today, we have the rich and the poor. Now, there are categories of the rich and there are categories of the poor. You know, not like in those days that we have the middle, we have the rich and we have the middle class. And now, the one that we can say belongs to the middle class now in Nigeria are relocating.
Yes.
Yeah. With their families. Now, they say they don't care. So what happened to us? They move. Then they now leave the miscreants and the, I won't call them elite, but I'll call them the big ones.
The big ones.
You know, the cabals. Now, they leave them. And I ask, how do you want this country to survive? How do you want this country to get out of this mess if all of you pack your things? Now, where you're going to, they didn't just get there in one day.
Yes.
Sure. They also had their trying time. They had their challenging time, but they fixed their country.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
To ensure that this
now in Nigeria, if you don't go to school, you are doomed. There are countries, there are nations that they don't go to school, but you see them doing well.
Yeah.
Because education is beyond the wall, the four walls of an institution.
I was going to come to that, and I'm very, very glad you.
It is sad. Maybe I will allow him to pick it up.
It is part of the path I'm hoping for. You know, in those days, education is a necessity.
Yeah. Yeah.
You understand? The importance cannot be overemphasized. But we got it wrong somewhere along the line when we began to see it as a means of outdoing others. Where you find a man who understands a job perfectly well, who can deliver. But we say,
because
this one is not educated now.
And so
then we begin to
the
promote.
opportunity.
Exactly.
And then we give the person who has a certificate but does not have a skill.
Education is about knowledge and application of things. You understand? You know, as we have in the world of today, the richest countries are not those who dwell on their mineral resources. They are people who have been able to deploy the best of their talents, you know, to innovate the various aspects of their society. And they are exporting knowledge, innovations, inventions to other parts of the world to earn their own foreign exchange.
And you know the funny part? They are selling to us.
You know,
something we can develop
so
ourselves.
Let me just quickly round up on that. Then we made a mistake of thinking that perhaps we don't have enough educated people. Like I mentioned, it's good to encourage people to learn, irrespective of what you want to do in life. Acquire education. Say, oh, this one is not educated. Before we know it, we began to, promote certification rather than acquisition of knowledge and skills. You understand? So you need it. The essential thing there is the application of knowledge. I'll tell you one thing. For instance, for those of us in science and engineering, most discoveries are accidental. You start by researching coke. me say Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
You may end up discovering Fanta. You understand? Innovations, inventions have more to do with your native intelligence than your certificate. When you are able to develop, you have an idea, okay? Human beings should be able to fly. If an object moves with enough speed, it is just an idea. It's a native, it's part of your native intelligence. At the end of it, if you have an environment that helps you to develop and promote that, and you get that object flying, you now come back to the table, applying your education to interpret the factors that came together for that object to fly. That is the essence of education, not the reverse.
Yeah.
So let's
Excuse me, please. Before we go to that point, we're going to take some calls. The number to call is right there on the screen. Once you want to contribute on the show, please call the number on the screen, and you can also send us your comments on our social media handle. You can send to MITV Lagos on Facebook. You can send to mitv.ng on Twitter. You can send to me TOMYSYNE. Just search for my name, Tomisin Ojo, on Twitter. You can send me your comments. You can send me your questions on Facebook as well. Search for my name, Tomisin Ojo, TOMISIN Ojo, on Twitter, on Facebook, and on Instagram. If you want to contribute, the number to call is right there on the screen, 070-6250-0247. The number again is 070-625-00247. Thank you.
Yes, I was going to say that it is so bad that we are really losing it. Do you know that information, the alleged information are going around now is, if you don't have a foreign certificate, even in the bank now, you can't go beyond manager. That is even if you get to manager or in the post of a manager, because you don't. Now you find out that most of these people, the salary they earn, they have to now study some sort of somewhere in UK and all that, and all the salary goes into that, to that foreigner, because they need to acquire that certificate so that they'll be able to get to managerial, or whatever. Irrespective of how you performing. You need that certification. And we are talking about restructuring. Now,
we have a caller. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Good morning, sir. You're on AM chat.
I'm coming from Alabama.
Oh, thank you very much for joining us. Your comment, please.
Yes, thank you. We got practical people are not producing practical.
Okay. 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 We lost our call, sorry. The number to call is right there on the screen. Please, when you call us, remember to turn down the volume of your TV set. And if you want to contribute, please make it as snappy as possible. 40-30 seconds, please.
You see, Mr. Vice President talked about, he was responding to former Vice President article that no, you cannot be talking about what we need is not geographical restructuring. Now, former Vice President said that's not what he is talking about. We have the economy that he has talked about, this restructuring. The economy one is there, the education one is there, which we just talked about, because now we are losing it and we are going back to the white people to say that we must have their certificate when they don't come here to have your certificate to be whatever they want to do.
And now the German Chancellor said they want to increase the number of students who are studying in Germany.
That's because they are promoting education tourism.
Yes. So this education tourism now. Imagine the amount of money that parents spend sending their children on
that is it.
Do you know how much we take into their system?
Exactly.
All the time.
That is another key aspect of restructuring. We are talking about.
Another caller on the line. Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Welcome to AM Chat. Your comment, your name and your comment, please. Hello, we can hear you. Your name and your comment, please.
I'm calling from Tondo.
All right, sir. Your name, sir. Your name. We We lost our call again. Oh, I think the weather is affecting our calls this morning. Yes, you were saying.
It's part of it is the restructuring. I'm very happy with the way I'm flowing with my brother. Said this morning. Government must begin to play its role, which is policy direction and envisioning. You create the direction for the country. You were talking about some people complaining about contracts or whatever the other time. What I am saying is beyond the contract. I know there are level of judging all these things. Yeah. Those who award contract and fail to execute them, the ones that are executed and
they were not
poorly executed, finally to the ones that are well executed. I say even the ones that are well executed, our government must begin to take it very seriously. That every project executed must rub significantly on the economy. It is not enough to just execute it.
Hello, good morning. Sorry, sir. We have a caller. Hello, good morning. Welcome to AM Chat. Your name and your comment, please.
Good morning. This is from Alabama.
Pleasure meeting you, sir. Your name, sir. Your comment,
God
sir.
bless you on the other panel. This is my question to every Nigerian about education. Do you have the government that are taking care of education? Do you have the government that understand what the education is all about? The access capital. Or just say all their institutions are doing is right. And the government they are putting aside. So we have the government that has education in Nigeria.
Thank you very much for your comment, sir.
And the picture of it is that we Nigeria were deceiving ourselves by following them. All their children are studying abroad. And our children is outside of the school. God bless you.
Thank you very much, sir.
A very quick one to that, in line with what he had said earlier. There was a point, we started complaining, our quality of education is poor, this, that. And we started going abroad. The question is, have you seen the impact of all these foreign certificates on the system?
No, actually, they don't come back.
No, they are not even come.
The one that come, imagine somebody studying marine biology and working in a bank. That's what happens. No, because I actually had friends. I had friends who studied ridiculous courses, and then they started working in sectors that had no business, and they actually earn lots more than our graduates in Nigeria who are qualified for that job, studied in Nigeria, have the experience, did IT, served in a relevant company, and are working. The funny part, when you study abroad and you come to Nigeria and you apply for the same job and another Nigerian studying the same course with you, or even a more relevant course, here in Nigeria, what happens now is your negotiation, they give you salary range. The person who studied abroad, they give you 250 to and above. The person who studied in Nigeria, I actually have a practical example, somebody very, very close to me. Two people doing the same job, sales rep in Nigeria. One studied abroad, one studied in Nigeria. The one in Nigeria was offered 120,000. The one who studied abroad was offered 350,000. Same position, same job. They gave them cars. But he was earning more. This one was earning more.
You know what?
That is what you more like. We are still being enslaved.
Exactly.
So that's what we are still talking about. Restructuring.
The
restructuring we are talking about is not all those geographical. Which I think, Mr. Vice President goofed in that aspect, because I don't think that's what Mr. former Vice President was talking about, because he was hammering on, the problem is not geographical, the problem is corruption. No! Don't you're wrong, sir. You see, what we just talked about education. Look at how deteriorated our educational system is. If we are talking restructure, that is what we are talking about. Economy, I don't think that's my average woman selling pepper on the streets of Lagos. Tell me what she understands. She can't even feed twice a day. One time is finding it difficult. Now, where have we gone wrong? What is our GDP talking about? Who understand the word GDP? when you're addressing your people.
Yeah.
And all that. So there is a lot of restructuring we are talking about. And until we face the reality, we come to this table and talk about it, we will keep going abroad to get those masters, to get those professional courses and those certifications abroad, and we'll keep taking our money to them and investing in their own country.
You know what? I can understand what you said earlier on about
the divide,
the dichotomy or the discriminatory way of enumeration.
Sure.
I can understand if the foreign companies are doing that, because they do everything in the interest of their country.
Yeah.
If they come in, if a foreign company does that in Nigeria, that company is just being patriotic. They want you to go back to their country and study. Study you spend to acquire the certificate. It's a kind of promotion for them.
Yeah.
But coming back to Nigeria, I think it is more of maybe free money that will make you to employ someone who can do the same thing. You go for the one whose salary is higher.
Whom you will have to pay higher.
If I believe by the time we get to that level of industrialization, whenever we get there.
Hello, good morning.
Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. Calling from Imo State.
Oh, thank you very much for joining us. What's your name, sir?
I'm calling from Imo State.
Yes, your name, sir.
Yes. I want to make a very short contribution.
Thank you very much, sir.
Yes. My question is this. I think this is an apostle of construction now. There has been in government for good 8 years. What effort did he make at that particular time to pick up this fund? Is calling construction right now. Why did they want to force down the throne of the present president? 2014 conference report, he objected. And yet they know, objected that conference. He refused to attend the business participate, APC particularly. And now want to make it their own program. They want to put it as a program of APC. They should wait when they come into power. Those who are supporting it, when they come into power, they then execute and implement their report. Somebody said, I don't want this document. And yet you voted for it. And you want to now change his own program and replace it with the one document. The government objected. The whole thing is, all of them, both the pensions and everything that are going on in the country, is the fact that they are all fighting Buhari because of Buhari is an apostle of anti-corruption. It is corruption fighting back. That is all. That's the opinion of the majority of Nigerians. All these things are young but that's all. They are not sincere. When they get up in that place,
They do the
they will
exact
come back
opposite.
to your part. It used to be. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for joining us. That caller was from Imo State. Thank you for joining us. You want to respond?
I don't want to lose my line of
Yes,
thought
please.
from what I was saying.
Yes, please.
In every aspect of our lives, especially when it has to do with interest, be it local or international, you cannot rule out, exploitation and alienation.
Yeah.
You need to alienate some people in order to get all the benefits to yourself. But I believe by the time we are able to raise our economy to a certain level of productivity, I get it.
Yeah.
When we have so many SMEs, up and running, nobody is going to tell you want a front desk receptionist, for instance, or you are looking for a technician or an engineer that can. Remuneration will be based on performance, based on what you bring to the table.
Yes.
If you look at some of these systems where these things are being practiced, you find there's some form of free money in the system.
That's one of the things as well.
Sorry, let me just quickly respond to
yes.
the last caller. You see, let us be fair to the former VP. because this is not the first time he's talking about restructuring. We should be fair to him, because yes, in as much as some of us understand that most of these things are political points, they are just juggling for